What was that you just fed me?
Ice cream, gelato ice cream. That was caramel cookie crunch.
Caramel cookie. My mouth is all dry now. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
I think it's delicious. I have an addiction to ice cream.
I noticed there's like 5 things in there in the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. So we're talking about Avicii being dead. We're talking about dead animals. We're talking about spiders. We're talking about cats. What more could you want?
Exactly.
So, our adventures in the desert. So we're going out. We're out there looking. And we come across, the first thing we come across is this mound of animal.
Well, we find this mound of animal. And I mean, obviously, it's dead. And so,
it was dead, all right.
And to make it even better, it was raining.
Oh, that's right. It was
it was. Everything was quite muddy.
Mm-hmm.
So, me over here, I get excited and I keep a pair of gloves with me. So I put on my
bags
my
and gloves and knife, things like that in the car.
Yeah.
Your
So,
go kit.
Exactly. So I put on my gloves. I start like ripping this thing apart. Well, not ripping it apart, but like pulling it and it's really heavy. So I'm pulling it to try and stretch it out and everything. It ended up being a giant flipping cowhide.
Yeah.
Like this thing was huge, and since it was wet, it was raining, it soaked up a lot of water. It's heavy. It is stupidly heavy.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you've never felt a dead cow skin, which I can only imagine no one in our audience has ever not had that experience, a cow is a very heavy animal. Now, you shear its skin off and you soak its skin, and it's still a very heavy animal.
Yeah, it literally took two of me and him. He didn't want to touch it at first. It was really.
I try to keep my hands out of the dead things, but it's just me.
It was a lot of convincing to get him to help me, but it was really heavy. And he's seeing me struggle, so he ends up helping me. With two of us trying to lift this thing, put it in a bag. It was just such a pain in the butt. Like, it was just a nightmare. But to make it all, to make everything like just that much better, it had like the whole tail attached and then just one random foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, you can totally tell it was like the foot was sawed off and stuff. It was like hanging on by a thread of the skin. It's so graphic.
Yeah, the foot itself, the skin is just there, and then an entire foot.
An entire foot, a whole hoof, the little toenails. Well, they're not little. I wish I had it in here. I have it in my well house.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing we'll get into.
Yeah, but the foot, the whole foot is in my well house, and I'm trying to figure out a good way to make this look good.
Well, so I guess what I'm trying to say here is what's interesting is we found this here, and I don't know if you know anything about the desert, but finding a cow in the middle of the desert that's dead and has its feet cut off is a little bit unusual. So, of course, being the loving man that I am, I helped you load it into the car, and the back end of the car goes like this down. Let me load it in there, and we'll go into the whole process. Maybe we won't. People probably really don't want to hear about that, but it was a whole process and a half getting it processed. But again, going back to it, unfortunately, it died. Maybe it was sick, and someone just had to kill it. It's a whole other story as to why it's out in the desert. I don't really get that part, but you're taking it and you're trying to make it beautiful, and you're trying to make it into something. And you wouldn't ever want to kill the animal yourself, but if it had to die, you're at least making something out of it. So, but what weirded us out is the more we went into the desert, we kept finding more and more hides, and mostly smaller animals. Like, what are we thinking? Like goats?
They're like goats,
like that?
burros. I'm pretty sure some of them now with the coarser hair is the boars.
Oh, okay. But again, boars. Yeah. I don't go outside and see boars walking around.
Yeah, and they're the boars. They're literally the boars with the tusks and everything. Like, they have big teeth, really big skulls, and these are like wild boars, like ones you'd find out in like the forest around trees and stuff.
Yeah, this isn't
like
exactly the African Sahara here. African Sahara. Those are two different things. Right. But
they're not. Yeah, they don't necessarily, from what I know, they don't like the dry heat, they kind of like being in the forest area with like deers, foxes, things like
So
that.
what are they doing here?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the big question. So it's actually led up to a point. At first we're like, oh, cool, an animal hide. Oh, cool, an animal hide. Oh, another animal hide. Oh, another animal hide. Yeah, and I mean, we found evidence of probably 10 to 15 killed
animal hides,
whether they were violently killed or they were killed on a farm or something. We don't know that.
Exactly. Well, at least we know now with the boars, those weren't violently killed. So I found a couple boar skulls.
Yeah,
right? That's
which
that's
are
how
beautifully displayed out on our property, by the way.
But that's how we know that there were boars, because I have a couple boar skulls that I picked up, and they're fully intact. I have the whole top and jaw and everything. But when people go to kill boars, when they want the meat, they'll shoot them directly in the head and the forehead, so that they don't suffer anything, so the lactic acid doesn't get into their meats, and it doesn't make the meat bad. So at least we know, because the skulls I have the shot in the skull. So at least we know the boars were probably used for meat. They weren't killed.
Our listeners have no idea what they were getting into.
I know. Sorry, guys.
But this is our reality. This is what goes on here.
These are the kind of things that we run into, and it's so weird because we're just two normal people, but yet we happen to come across these things, and some people don't have that. So we feel like if we get to share this experience,
we have such adventures. So and for those who are worried about this did end up with a call to animal control, and we went about the right actions here.
Yeah, we did get quite concerned about the situation.
We don't. I mean, if it's animals being killed on a farm because they're sick or for food or something like that, that's one thing. But what's strange is that they're being dumped where they are, and that's what's not lining up with us. So
exactly.
we did take the proper measurements and report this and everything too. Unfortunately, they came out and they're just kind of telling us, this has been happening for years, and there's nothing we can really do about it. Because I mean, what are you going to do? You can't trace it. You can't, unless you find somebody in the act.
Yeah.
Even then, it's like borderline illegal. It's just dumping garbage, really. So they can't even do anything about it anyway. So it's a weird situation going on down there. But this is the desert, and it's full of weird things going on. But
it's quite interesting because we've adventured in many different places. We go on a drive and we're just like, let's just go down this road.
Yeah.
Everywhere we go, we haven't really run into this situation except for this one spot.
We've been deep in the desert, all over the place, and this one spot, which is not that out there. It's off of a fairly main road, and then down a little bit of some gravel roads and things, but it's within eyesight of other houses.
It looked like it was supposed to be a community.
It was, it was subdivided, and but this was just people's dumping ground for this, and we just thought at first it was just natural. Okay, things die in the desert, but we've been so many other places throughout the desert that we've never found anything like this in that kind of concentration. So somebody is dumping creatures there, and it's I don't know. We just can't put it together what's going on.
Yeah. But, we haven't gone and checked that area in a while. Yeah,
we'll have to venture down there. And again, stay tuned on our Facebook page. We'll share videos of some of the things we've been telling you about, any new adventures we go on down there. It's kind of fun. You get to go along with us, and you never know what we're going to run into. But, sometimes we just like looking for evidence of animals in the desert. We found some little skulls, rabbit bones, things like that. And if you're into that kind of stuff, I mean, probably a lot of people are listening to this and they're like, that's gross. I don't know why you're into that. You guys are freaking weird. But if that's what you're into and you enjoy studying animals and their life cycles and all that stuff, we can find some really interesting things out there. And we'll go. I mean, we'll freaking Indiana Jones into the bushes and stuff like that. And another interesting thing we find out there are homeless little encampments in the bushes. Things you have no idea you drive past all the time. And we're walking in there, and it's really kind of scary because you don't know if it's fresh. You don't know if there's somebody in there. You don't know if there's somebody dead in there. So we go in, we'll just be poking around some bushes, and all of a sudden you'll see some blankets, and then we walk in a little more, and there's a cooler and more blankets and bags and old stuff of food and trash.
Yeah. And it is quite scary initially, like walking in there. It's like, what if there is someone in here? And then you kind of look around and you notice like it's kind of worn down. It doesn't look like someone's been there in a while, but the fact that all that's there and someone could have been there, they might be dead in there. Like,
Right.
yeah, they could have just either naturally died or unfortunately probably got a hold of something very dangerous. And
Yeah, and the sad truth is here is there are a lot of homeless folks. When I was back east, we didn't have homeless people wandering around.
Oh, we had them a lot in California.
Oh, there was one guy, and he lived near the mall, and he was like the famous homeless guy.
Everyone
and people
knew
would
him.
help. Everyone knew who he was. Everyone knew his name, and everyone would help him out. And he was friendly and all that stuff. And when he died, it made the paper. I mean, it was like on the paper telling his life story and all this stuff. And around here, I mean, there are dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of homeless folks out here in the desert of all places, out here surviving. And some of them are camping out in bushes out there and things that we find like that.
Some of them actually get quite elaborate too. Like they kind of like turn into like a little community out in the desert. They get like their own, like they kind of get together, get little trailers, and
there are some nifty trailer contraption things out there in the desert. Yeah,
we came across a house not too long ago.
What is that cat getting into? It's all I can hear in my headphones. Is it him? It's Polly, of course. Yeah, I called him in trouble. He's rolling around.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But we come across this house. It was abandoned, and we kind of look around. And it's huge, but then once we start looking more around, it started off as a trailer.
Oh, that one. That's
right.
right.
It started off as a trailer, and then someone just literally built on.
Just addition after addition after addition.
And it towards like the end of the house, it was just huge. It looked like maybe 2 or 3 stories, just starting off from this little trailer, a single wide trailer, and then it was kind of like a staircase, just one level, the next level, and the next level.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about where we live here, this is Nye County. So Las Vegas is in Clark County. We're in Nye County here. And it's a very, what's the word?
Lenient?
Very lenient freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom. People are very much into freedom around here.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. But you do see a lot of interesting things out here when it comes to buildings and cars and everything else. We don't have smog limitations or anything here, so you see some really interesting contraptions.
Yeah.
Some of them might be in my driveway and other things out here, and that's what's so fun. And the more north you go and you go into Esmeralda County, there are no codes there.
Yeah,
I could literally go take a trip to Home Depot, slap up whatever house I wanted to build, and I don't have to have anyone inspect it. I don't have to get any permission to build it. I don't have to, it's one of the last counties in the country that still do that.
Yeah.
It's anyway, but it just contributes to the very interesting place that we get to live in.
Right. Yeah. There is laws here in Nye County, but they're very, very non-enforced.
Yeah.
They it's kind of just like, okay, we're telling you what it is. This is what you're supposed to do, but you know.
And don't get me wrong, our police force is great. They'll be here in 30 seconds if they need to, but they kind of
if you're not hurting
what
anyone,
they need to enforce.
If you're not hurting anyone, if you're not doing anything illegal like making a whole meth lab, then you're you're
and even that's borderline. You know,
no one's really gonna bug you here, especially if you're really off the grid, just like no man land.
Yeah. The farther you get out, the roads get hard to even pass.
Exactly. No one really wants to go out there except for that one person who decides to live out there.
That's right. Yep. Nye County, rural Nevada. There's far more than just the casinos and all the glistening lights out here. Very interesting place. There he is.
There's the Polly.
There's the Polly coming in to say hi. And I was gonna say we only got one meow out of him. There we go.
Yep,
there we go. So he's gonna sit at the base of your feet and scream at you until he receives the attention he desires.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, my chair is too high to go and pet him, so he's just gonna continue to meow.
We're gonna have to give him a little box next to your chair. They can jump up and you can just reach down with your hand.
Right. I just know I need to bring this chair over next to me.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see on camera, but he's camping out on that chair behind you there.
Yeah. I just need to roll it next to me so that Polly can kind of chill out over here and be a part of the team.
He will never shut up. Really. All right, we got to go to break. We'll be right back.